I know it was early, but, you know, the earlier the better. There's never a right time for poetry. There's always time for poetry. So I'm Leah Kogan Elimeliah. I'm honored that Linda had asked me and Jane to take this panel.
That's interesting, I didn't know that.
And I'm just honored to be on this panel with Ron and Jane. And so here we are, and it's really a pleasure meeting all of you. It's my first time here in Easton. I really am very charmed by this town, so I am happy that I came. So a little bit about Pink Tree Press, for those who are not familiar. Linda Kleinbub is not here. She had a little bit of an urgent matter to take care of, personal matter.
But everything went well.
Everything went well. She's doing well, thank goodness. But I do want to just talk a little bit about what she's doing. She curates, Linda curates a Fahrenheit open mic, and she's also the co-founder of Pen Pal Poets. Pink Tree Press was started by Linda Kleinbub in 2012 in New York City. She's also herself a poet. It is a nonprofit press publishing that usually takes in diverse living poets, handmade books, poetry collections, memoirs, creative nonfiction, and anthologies. Linda Wolkin is a graphic artist who designs many of the covers, so I do want to give her a shout out because she does exist on these books.
Like all the Pink Trees books are here, and you can see the covers.
Yes, so they can be found in that little corner by the blue bookshelf that's outside of the, you know, the inside shelf piece. So that's a little bit about Pink Tree Press, and I know that many of you know Ron, but I'll still tell you a little bit about him. So his phenomenal record of his 50-year career of working in New York City's independent bookstores, Ron witnessed liberal Democratic Governor Jerry Brown buying Hitler's Mein Kampf and chased sexist Ugly George up Broadway. Hilarious. He's cooked up a story about enjoying a late lunch at the Russian tea room with Philip Rothsweinganger, who is ordering a plateful of kotleta and Kiev. And he tells that he couldn't order books because Kathy Acker of Blood and Guts and high school fame was talking endlessly on the New Morning Bookstore's phone. The Bookstore Book is an exhilarating literary monument to the dying trade of bookselling. Okay, so that is something a little bit said about Ron. He's a contributing editor of Sensitive Skin. He's the author of the Bookstore Book, Pink Trees Press in 2023, Swimming in the Shallow, and in 2020, Welcome to the Barbecue, A Change in the Weather, Night Shift, Duke and Jill, Suburban, Ambush, Divine Comedy, and The Plastic Factory. He's had works in Hogwarts, and then the Cafe Review, Gathering of the Tribes, Great Weather for Media, Live Mag, EHF, Cypher's Right, many, many more. His papers were purchased by the New York University Library. Ron moved to New York in the 70s and got a job at the Strand Bookstore, where he worked with Tom Verlaine and Patti Smith. His career in New York City independent bookstore spans some 40 years and includes working in East Side Bookstore, the original Coliseum Book on 57th Street, Shakespeare & Co. on Broadway, Astor Place, St. Mark's Bookshop, and Posman Books in Grand Central Terminal. So that is just a little bit about Ron. There's much more to be said, and you'll just have to buy a book. Yes?
He also has been the leader of the Unbearables, and he edited 7 anthologies of the Unbearable books.
Thanks for that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Very much.
Thanks for adding beauty to the world.
So next to Ron, we have the beautiful, talented, brilliant Jane LeCroy. Serves the poetry gods, as we know, as both Madonna and whore, as we know. She's a home-birthing mother of 3 responsible for thousands of poems because she's a poetry teacher by day and students from 1st grade through university, and by night she is a witch. who inspires and peddles poetry as a character in the immersive theater, Poetry Brothel, as a poetry whore performing her original verse with power and grace. She's widely published and has books out from the Three Rooms Press, Pink Tree Press, Imaginator Records, has her music based on her poetry from her two bands, The Icebergs and Om Slice, streaming everywhere.
Cool.
She's also an incredible friend, an activist, an advocator, and
Rabble rouser,
and a butterfly.
yeah, and a mermaid.
And a mermaid.
Oh, you could.
So yes, thank you for being here,
Oh,
and
that's
I'm
cool.
so honored to speak to you today.
She's wearing her Pink Trees Press t-shirt.
That's right.
Yep,
Represent.
represent.
So cool.
Thanks, Linda Kleinbub, everything, because she's so awesome. She really is amazing.
So I know that Linda has asked you to read some of her faves. So I'll just go right to Ron to just ease us into this morning glory.
We have like a memoir focus.
Okay,
Today.
I'm gonna switch what she wanted me to. I'm gonna switch
I love
to
that.
poetry.
Yes.
Yeah. Hell's Kitchen. For Fred Bass, the owner of the Strand Bookstore, who gave me a job when I desperately needed one. After the war in Vietnam wound down and my stint doing alternative service came to an end, I was a Vista volunteer. I wasn't gonna go shoot anyone. So I actually worked in Upper East Tennessee with incredibly poor people. I get to tell people this. We had to live in a shack just like all the people we were helping, and we had an outhouse. And I tell people I know what Eine Kleine Nacht music is. It's going to your outhouse at 2 in the morning and hearing all the other people in their outhouses. I'll shut up. But anyway, so that's what I did instead of going to shoot anyone. After the war in Vietnam wound down and my stint doing alternative service came to an end, I had to stop and take stock of my situation. I could return to Pennsylvania and get a job in a factory dealing with chemicals that fuck with your body. But I'd done that before I signed up for Appalachia. And it sure wasn't much fun back then, so I decided not to go that route again. Also, I was starting to think of myself as a writer. To pursue that career, I figured I'd have to move to New York City because I'd heard that's where the action was. My pickup truck had thousands of miles on it, wasn't gonna last much longer, but I knew I could use it for one more mission. I loaded it up with many boxes of books I bought during my travels across the country and a bag of clothes and headed north. I drove to the Port Authority, parked, and went outside to look for a newspaper. I found a copy of the Village Voice and took it back to the truck where I checked out the apartment listings. I found several, but the one that interested me the most was a studio on 46th Street between 8th and 9th Avenues for $160 a month. This tells you how long ago that was.
That's why.
I circled the phone number and called it from a payphone. I managed to get an immediate appointment to check the joint out. I liked what I saw, plus I could afford it, having saved some money from my year of service. I signed a 2-year lease and gave the landlord a check. Went back to the parking lot, got my vehicle, drove down the street in front of my new place and carried my stuff inside. I woke up the next morning after a fitful night's sleep on the bare floor and started looking for a job, but nothing went my way. Every place I applied to seemed interested at first, but as soon as I got to the part where I told them about my year in Vista, they got cold feet. I could read the equation on their faces. Community organizer equals union organizer, and nobody wanted that. The days went by and my savings were dwindling, so I started selling off parts of my library to get enough cash for food and rent. I became one of the regulars at the Strand Bookstore, and Fred, the owner's son, began to recognize me. After my 3rd trip, he offered me a job, but as the pay was $60 a week, I said no and continued to pound the pavement, to no effect. After my 5th trip, I said yes. I was running out of books. I'll read 1 or 2 more short ones and then we'll head on. CBGB's. I worked at the Strand Bookstore with Tom Verlaine. He invited me to CBGB's the first time his band Television played there. Punk was born that night. I ended up getting into a fight with my date and we left to take it outside. Tom yelled at me the next day, "Why the fuck did you split?" I responded by asking how the hell I knew I'd left. "I can see everything from the stage," he answered as he continued to shelve books. And I'll end with this, me and Patti Smith. For a brief while, Patti Smith and I shelved books in the Strand Bookstore at the same time. I did get the chance to see her perform with Lenny Kaye playing guitar on a rooftop high above Grand Street. But our main interaction happened when she strode up to me in the store and thrust the caveman recording of James Joyce reading into my hands. Someone told me I looked like him and gave me this. That's bullshit. I heard you like him, so it's yours. I still have that record in my collection.